Welcome to the show, and this week, opening, The Outfit. Is it about the mob? Is it about a tailor? Congratulations, it's both. And Adam, did you prep by watching all the Oscar nominees?
Oh, of course I did, Paul. Of course I did. And how many of the theatrically released Batman movies from the last 30 years were nominated?
You never studied. It's movie nonsense.
Oscar for the Best Picture of 1993 goes to...
Hard to watch. Poor Harrison Ford exploded.
Yeah, I know. That's not. I mean, look, I wanted to put Harrison Ford in the. It could be a lot of people announcing it. It would be funny if I had put, and the Best Picture is Green Book, and then cut back to Adam West saying some days you just don't know how to get rid of a bomb. Well, there's that joke.
That's the thing about why we did this show. We don't want to do any post. Yeah. But apparently we don't prepare either. Well,
now we're not doing pre.
Yeah, we got nothing. No pre, no post. It's movie nonsense.
It's movie nonsense.
If you come here every Monday at 3, this is what you're going to get. Nonsense. And if you've watched us on the podcasts we've done, or the live shows, or the anywhere you found our stuff, it's loaded with nonsense. Or in the movie Trivia Schmodown.
We're silly.
Where Adam and I seem to have been reunited for more Schmodown nonsense.
Spoiler alert! It's already was packed with nonsense. If anybody hasn't seen the end of last week's Friday Night Titans, the very, very end, just like an Iron Man, like your favorite part of Iron Man, Paul makes an appearance and does the line delivery, just could not be better. It was very, very good. Made me so happy.
It's going to get weird there. It's going to get weird here. And if you want more weird, check us out at The Movie Guys everywhere there's social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And, of course, at themovieguys.net, where we archive all of our podcast appearances, radio shows, and whatever that we've done over time. You can go to themovieguys.net to find that. And if you don't know how to find it, just search Google, Ask Jeeves, or... Yahoo's still a thing, right? Yeah.
It sure is.
So, well, that's what we're about. And here's what's coming up. Well, we said it last week before the show ended. We were going to do 3 things. We were going to talk about the Batman. We were going to return to that Harrison Ford nonsense we played going out last time when Ross Marquand was on the show. And Oscar talk, because when the nominations came out, I was in Death Valley. I'm back now. I'm going to be away again next week. So we got to get it done this week and talk about this a ton. So there's every nomination we'll try to get to, and of course we'll fail to leave ourselves enough time, and we'll do what we can. Why lie to you?
I mean, it's kind of a perfect show because Paul has one of Paul's big things is the Oscars, and one of my big things is Batman. And I'm afraid that I failed to watch Coda, Belfast. What else didn't I watch this week?
The Best Picture nominees, I think, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch any of those because I was watching Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and of course the Batman.
Well, we touched a little on
Batman.
That,
wow, the infamous. Do
you have any Mexican food? Any food that isn't Mexican?
Any food that isn't Mexican? Well, the Slack beer will have one.
Slack beer. Try to get in too much troubles, okay?
Okay.
Listen, Coda is the #1 film of the year. Spoiler alert for the upcoming Oscar talk. But
yeah, see, I wanted to have a discussion on that because I've having only seen what I've seen. Power of the Dog is it for me, but I haven't seen Coda yet.
All right. Well, we'll cover what we haven't seen before we get into that, because I got a few, like you might say, hey, why didn't you mention blah, blah, blah? Well, I haven't seen a few things. But pretty much if it's nominated, I think I saw it. But then there's some stuff that it could have been nominated that, like, I could be angrier about not being nominated.
Oh, right,
once I
yeah.
see it. Movies like Come On, Annette, Passing, The Card Counter. Adam,
I've heard of The Card
what's
Counter.
his superpower? Oh, he's your chip. Etc. So we'll get to that in a second. But is there anything you need to say about the new movies this week? Batman continued to trounce the box office, so they're not putting out a lot of stuff to get in its way. There's a new Jason Statham Guy Ritchie movie, which is actually bodes right.
There is?
Yes, there is. And I keep looking to see if the date of release has changed, but it clearly has not. So it's called Operation Fortune: Ruse de Guerre.
Okay.
And it apparently is coming out this weekend.
I would like to go see that because I feel really bad. Putting together my list of movies I've actually even seen this year, because you asked for my top 10, it is slightly embarrassing. I only saw I think 30 new releases this year, which, that's pretty atrocious, right? That's like one every other week almost. It's really odd. But what were we talking about? Because I was going to say
Operation Fortune: Ruse de Guerre.
Oh, Kingsman, the Kingsman. I watched two more times.
Fortune, the Kingsman.
I watched. Well, it's just like one of those ones where I was like, I wish I'd seen this in the theater. And it's got that kind of Guy Ritchie. I mean, it's Matthew Vaughn, So Matthew Vaughn and Guy Ritchie came up together. The first three movies were co-productions, So it's got that sort of, Sherlock Holmes kind of action flair to it and everything. And I was just like, I watched it two more times. So I could review that movie every week now because we did not even scratch the surface. I'll save that for another. I'll start another countdown. I need to review The Kingsman again, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, that movie is fantastic.
Oh my God. The whole Rasputin thing. I was just like, I can't believe I didn't even cover Rasputin. But,
yeah, it's just sadly.
I've
gone on and on about the lack of viewership those movies from holiday time from 20th Century Studios got, and that's West Side Story, Nightmare Alley, and The Kingsman all underperformed. And now Death on the Nile underperformed. 20th Century Studios is hurting, and they're putting out good stuff. I mean, Death on the Nile isn't amazing, but it's certainly a crowd pleaser. What's going to hit is you can't predict. You can't predict it.
Or it's just superhero movies. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe Hollywood's worst nightmare came true with the lockdown. Is that now we're back, we're out and about, but the only thing people are like, movie theater. The only thing I'll go see is the superhero movie. It's like the critic's worst nightmare. Now, literally, only superhero movies are being seen by mass audiences. I mean, that's fine for me, but it's unfortunate for a lot of other movies.
Yeah. Let's see what else we have here. All right, I'm loading a couple more JPEGs before we get into this.
Oh, sure. Here, I'll play the Batman trailer while you're doing that.
Okay.
You think Gotham City is a peaceful city? Ho, ho, ho! Put your gum under your seats, hold your breath, and get ready to cheer Batman and hiss his diabolical enemies. Hissable enemy number one is now about to strike.
It can be cruel, poetic, or blind.
Things certainly are turning the wrong way for them.
Violence you may find.
Selena, they'll throw your life away.
Don't worry, honey. I got 9 of them.
Holy cats! A cat!
It's always worth a second viewing.
All right. Well, should we just jump right into Batman then? I mean, the other here's a look at that movie I was talking about. This is Operation Fortune, and it's got what looks like Hugh Grant in another heel role.
Yes.
And it's nothing better than the late career Hugh Grant heel turn.
100%. Wow, look at this. I mean, Josh Hartnett, underused, will be very well used in a Guy Ritchie movie. Hugh Grant as a baddie, maybe, but
I think so. Regardless, he'll be unsavory, and that's
gosh, yes, yeah. I mean, God, and I used to talk about over and over with Charlie, who was on our show, about Hugh Grant's potential. Like back when he was this heartthrob, it's like, oh, please just make him a bad guy, make him, some sort. And in Man from U.N.C.L.E., they made him kind of the Q of Man from U.N.C.L.E. too. Yeah. It's like, I love what's happening to Hugh Grant right now. I love that he's not playing anything he used to.
The Gentleman or Paddington 2 or Florence Foster Jenkins. This, again, late career, so you never know what you're going to get out of him, whereas you used to know what to get. And yes, and these two deserve mention as well. Aubrey Plaza and Carrie Ellis both in that.
That's really good.
And Alan has a nice take on, if people are only going to superhero movies, maybe Gal Gadot should have played Wonder Woman. Death on the Nile would have had bigger box office.
There you go, right?
It only had a third of Murder on the Orient Express's box office. But then again, they may have spent too much on a murder mystery. It was like $90 million, to make that. It's like, what? There's no effects needed. Just go. Again, they did the thing I always talk about on here. Raiders of the Lost Ark. They went to Tunisia. They got dysentery, and it was worth it. These guys, all the CGI Egypt and CGI pyramids and stuff, it looks hacky, and then it, costs too much, and now they wonder if they're going to make enough money. And we may not get. And then there were none. I'm not mad at the Branagh, going through Agatha Christie's, books one by one, but
no, it's like a new golden era for that kind of thing, like Knives Out, and it's now like a whodunit kind of. Scream has always kept the whodunit thing a little warm, and that just had a reappearance. So yeah, the whodunit's the new deal.
Yeah. All right, well, let's just get to the Batman then, because the other movies are cheaper by the dozen remake for Disney Plus. I mean, too soon.
Yeah. And
then Deep Water, which has been delayed 1,000 times, and it's just getting dumped.
Is that streaming. The Deepwater Horizon thing?
No, it's Ben Affleck movie. It might be good, but who the hell would know? Because
if he's a cop named Deepwater, hi, I'm Deepwater. That's gonna be a good movie.
And then More Than Robots. I think it's a Disney Plus documentary about smart kids. Anyway, screw all that, because the Batman,
the sort of stuff we would never cover, is now all considered major releases because it's on video, on streaming. Yeah,
anyway.
Oh, look at him! Look at it! Oh yeah!
Behold!
Holy murder!
You did the ramp up, our thing where if you're going to watch a movie that there have been a ton of movies like it, whether there's previous Fast and Furious movies or just ones that aren't related, like there's been 10 Batman movies. You go out, you watch them all.
I do.
Before you watch the Batman. How'd it go? Report in.
Man, it was just such a great week, and I really can't go see these things on opening day. It's just too soon, because the height of excitement reaches that Friday, and everybody's going to go see it. But I have to take that week after its release, knowing it's out there. That's kind of like a key thing. And watching other Batman movies watching Michael Keaton and going, man, I get another experience like this coming up, and then watching Christian Bale and going, oh my, just reabsorbing all the exciting moments of those movies. I mean, we are so blessed to have, I think, 9 theatrical Batman movies, or maybe if you include...
I'm sure the chat will tell us.
Yeah, sure. If you include Mask of the Phantasm, but who would? I mean, people like that movie, but it's a cartoon. It's, I know it was released theatrically, but I'm talking live action Batman, baby.
Yeah, well, then you're going to start getting into Batman versus Robin and Flashpoint and all that stuff. So just
right.
We're talking about
which, by the way, if you're not.
If
you're not watching Dan Murrell's YouTube channel, he covered literally all of them that are released and ranked them, which was really kind of fun to watch, because I was like, what are some of these? And he's like, coming in at number 30 is like Batman versus the Ninja or whatever. You're like, what? it was a pretty great little trial of to have to literally rank every one of them. But man, I mean, I just and I watched Batman and Robin, which has a nice kinship with this Batman. Here's what I love about this Batman. My favorite thing about any superhero movie is give me superheroes doing superhero shit, baby. Just you go do don't make any apologies. Don't go, no, it's a normal guy movie. No. It's really kind of a movie. It's kind of like a 70s suspense thriller, and then he gets in costume twice. Don't give me that, And I know for years we had to have the apology superhero movies of no, it's really about a blind guy just trying to meet a girl in Manhattan, but he also dresses up at night and fights crime, that sort of thing. This is the most radical move, and I didn't even see it coming. of Batman. He is in costume 90% of this movie. How great was that? It is literally Batman doing Batman shit all the time. I mean, it's like got the same structure as an old Batman TV show. Here's Commissioner Gordon, the crime scene. Here comes Batman. Now, what's cool is it's like the Batman Year 2 idea, which I guess they maybe technically have done when Keaton was kind of like a Batman Year 2 thing. But this like sort of like Gotham as a character, Gordon as a character, like the whole Gotham vibe. I mean, man, they set the tone for that so good, don't they? I mean, the whole opening is this monologue about now that Batman's been out there scaring the hell out of criminals for 2 years, you know, here's how that's utilized to keep the criminals at bay, you know, to like get them like staring at the shadows and like that whole setup before his intro. Batman's never had a setup like that before, you know, like that sort of like Rorschach's journal.
Has he had voiceover in general? I mean, I don't think so. No,
that's true. Yeah. This is the first Batman voiceover. I didn't even think of that.
Flying off just off the top of my head, but I don't think so.
Which is kind of amazing because what lends itself to voiceover more than a comic book adaptation? And when you think about it, like maybe one Marvel movie has voiceover, so it's interesting because it really had that Frank Miller vibe because I'm hearing the thought bubbles. You know, it's like. Yeah. You know, they always say, don't, if you use voiceover, it's some sort of cheat or it's weird storytelling device. But for a comic book adaptation, I'm like, that's like dead on. And it's one of the few. You're right.
And our guy, Ray Scalacci, who writes reviews for themovieguys.net, mentioned this. And it was the first thing I noticed when I saw the movie. It's like, this is Detective Comics.
It is Detective.
You know,
Comics.
And I love that sequence where he, you know, there's a scene where he's just looking at a crime scene. He's kind of walking around. He just kind of goes, and walks off. And then people scramble over and go, "What do you see? What do you see?" And sure enough, there's blood or something on the ground. They take a picture. They do the whole thing because he gets it. He sees it. He's the Sherlock of this whole thing, while he also kicks ass.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yes, it's the full Batman. It's everything you get. It made me realize just how little Batman we get in any of the other movies in some ways. This is the most Batman movie because it just does all the Batman. And of course, it's a 3-hour movie, so it gets it all in. But the detective thing, I just love that. Him walking in, also that sort of alliance between Gordon that has now happened off screen, you know, that we're just coming into their relationship.
We get it, yes. Thank God, right?
So good.
Let's watch his parents die again. Can we not? So, yes.
Yeah, well, I think that's a little overblown. They've spent maybe 8 minutes of screen time on his parents' death and everyone complains. I find that a little odd, but anyway.
Even Joker had it. I mean, we'll go for a Joker movie. We got to watch his parents die. I'm like, let's just have him Batman it up. Again, I think sparing us from Uncle Ben's death again has been one of the best things about the relaunch of Spider-Man. So anyway.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, yes, in Gotham, the City from Seven version of Gotham, right? I mean, have I ever seen it rain in Gotham in any of these movies? It rains all the time in this one, and it should. It's Gotham. It sucks. Gotham sucks. I've never seen Gotham suck like this before, and it should. And it's just like all of a piece. And Batman just comes out of that carefully crafted shadows all over this very dark movie. But it's such a joy to see a movie that's not making any apologies for being a Batman movie, you know, and all of them make various apologies or try to be this or that or nervously be a Batman movie. Not Chris Nolan's, but those are kind of more Chris Nolan movies than they are necessarily Batman movies, although I love all the Batman stuff in them, obviously. But this one, it just, you know, like I said, it's not that far off from the Batman TV show in a weird way, because he walks in, there's Gordon, here's the Riddler's, you know, clue. I love how he's like always unraveling the clues, always knows them right away. They don't really like let them sit, but what they mean ultimately. And then very cleverly, over the course of 3 hours, turn this into a origin-ish story, in that some connections we've made in Batman's story have never been connected before. You know, from Maroni to the Gotham Police Department to the, you know, drugs and all these sort of things. Like, it all ends up circling into some familiar Batman information. So it just also kind of makes it like, if you are kind of thrown by the first hour of like, well, let's say you've never heard of Batman and you're like, well, what's this guy and dressed like a bat? But by the end of it, you're like, oh, wow, okay, that ended up being a very taut mystery that came around. And, if you were not on board by the end of it, you would be, but just a thrill. I mean, I just love seeing people dressed like superheroes in movies. And he is Batman this entire movie, doing Batman stuff this entire movie. I love, comes in, the gravelly voice, the whole thing. It's everything I need. It didn't out clever itself in any way of going, this is the one where he speaks in a squeaky high voice so that all those critics about the deep gravelly voice will be satisfied. I mean, I hate that sort of stuff. It's like, no, those guys don't care about Batman. They just want to be heard on Twitter. You give me a gravelly voice, and just everything is, it's so good. It's so enjoyable. I didn't want that movie to end, and it might still be going on. I might have left early. I'm not sure. After the credits, does more movie happen? It was a long movie, but...
All right, well, yeah, and it's the next big superhero, again, well done, Warner Brothers, putting it into theater. People will come, Ray.
People will come, Ray.
I think it took Spider-Man for them to be convinced. After their entire 2021.
Warner Brothers quite nervous. They'll wait till Marvel proves it first, and then they'll do it. They're like, oh, what? What's that? Marvel did it? Oh, okay.
Their MO.
That's their MO. Well, let's see how it works out for Marvel. Oh, cool. Then we're going to do that too.
Yeah.
Which is adorable, actually.
Now, did you have a follow-up on the Harrison Ford thing?
On the Harrison Ford voiceover thing? Oh, I didn't download that. Last week No, I don't have that downloaded.
Oh, okay.
I sent you a link to it, and I can't find it now for some reason.
Oh, I can get that back to you. I send it back again, and then get it again, and then
okay.
You can just share a screen if you want, but.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, we could play the imitation he did of this goes all the way back in the mythology of the show to last week when we
it's in the
private chat. Okay. Well, here, while I'm going and finding that, let's just play the clip. So at the end of this clip, Ross Marquand, voice of he's Darth Maul, and he is
he's Red Skull.
Red Skull does a great Harrison Ford, and I hilariously at the end of this clip, like anybody knows what I'm talking about, but Adam Witt. Is what's funny here. But he does an impersonation of Harrison Ford doing the thing I'm describing, but he had never seen it before, and you'll be amazed how close it is.
As ever, it is all movies all the time here, and there seems to be no bigger news in the film world right now than something we touched on at the top of the show, the official release of the cast members of Star Wars Episode 7.
Unbelievable.
We talked about it briefly. I love that you call it a sequel to Return of the Jedi.
It is!
Because you need to think of it like that. I mean, that's what
crazy.
It is.
Crazy. Never had it.
But we never gave you the name of the actors involved, so we'd like to give you those names now. With a very special guest, a first for the showcast.
Yeah, this is pretty exciting because we're talking the Admirals Club, and it's probably about 100 degrees in here, so this is a big deal.
This is a big deal.
And look at this guy, doesn't sweat.
None other than Harrison Ford himself is in our studio, ladies and gentlemen, to help us out. He himself is one of the cast members of the new film, and he'll read the cast members off to you now to the exciting music of John Williams' legendary score. Here we go. Actually, wait, hang on one second. I can't seem to find the Star Wars thing. Okay, well, we can't do that. We'll have to go with the NFL Films music.
Oh, great.
Okay. Which is never a bad thing on our show. We love to introduce things with the NFL Films music. So here we go. Harrison Ford, take it away.
In 1977, George Lucas's epic space opera Star Wars redefined space entertainment. And now, director J.J. Abrams takes us to a galaxy far, far away. Once again with an able-bodied crew of solar system traversing adventurers. Your Star Wars Episode 7 starting lineup. Adam Driver, Oscar Isaac, John Boyega, Andy Serkis, Domhnall Gleeson, Mark Hamill, that son of a bitch, Carrie Fisher, I love her, Peter Mayhew, Chewie, Not here. Here. Daisy Ridley. Anthony Daniels, y'all know him. Harrison Ford.
Yeah, you know.
That's the ultimate version of that bit right there.
I can't
Harrison
believe
Ford,
that.
everybody. All right, Harrison, just see yourself out. Thank you.
Oh, my
Just one more
gosh.
line. Say, you find that Adam Driver.
You find this Adam Driver. He was in a show called Girls. He's got big ears. You know this man.
Hey, by the way, while we have Harrison Ford,
Yes,
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
yes.
Get back here, Harrison.
Oh, yes.
Don't leave yet.
Sit
can
down.
you imitate the sleepy delivery of the... Do you remember in 1980 they had the phone call, the phone number
Like
you could
anybody's
call
gonna know
in
this.
before Empire Strikes Back? Yeah, and Harrison Ford would
Yeah.
tell you about the movie as
Trust
Han
me.
Solo.
Whoa.
But it's one of his sleepiest things you've ever heard. It's literally phoned in. It's
In this movie, we've got a lot of great twists and turns. And there might be some carbonite. I don't know. Anyway, the point is, there's a guy named Boba Fett or something. It's anyway, you'll like it, I guess. Have a fun time.
that was good.
Yes.
That was pretty close.
That's
Now we do have to pull the drop of you'll like it, I guess. Have a fun time.
Have a fun time.
Okay, so-
or just I say that like daily. So I thought that was so funny. Have a fun time.
Have a fun time. So, I mean, after that, just hilariously, like anybody's going to know what I'm talking about there. Here is the actual, and so he does this impersonation. And so then I did go find this and send it to Paul, and he's like, oh, we'll have to play it this week. Here, how do I share the, here we go, share screen. And Empire Strikes Back 800 number. By the way, when I went to YouTube to find this, it has outtakes for Carrie Fisher's message and Mark Hamill's message, and I was like, oh, what? Because I'd looked this up years ago after we had talked about it, but so these are new. That Mark Hamill, the outtakes, the full outtakes of it, and Carrie Fisher and the full outtakes of hers, and then just Harrison Ford's, which means this is a classic Krusty the Clown one take. There are no outtakes from this. Here it is. Listen to how close this is to what he just did.
I ran into Ben Kenobi and Luke Skywalker. I had myself a pretty good little operation. They wanted to ride to Alderaan, and they're willing to pay enough so I didn't have to ask any questions. Now I'm in the middle of a rebellion. I'm spending half my time dodging Imperial ships and the other half avoiding Her Holiness. Not only that, but Jabba the Hutt's got a price on my head, and he's put Boba Fett on my trail.
Boba Fett.
Something tells me it's not going to get any better when the Empire Strikes Back.
The Empire Strikes Back comes to a theater near you on May the 20th.
Wow.
You'll like it. Have a good time.
Shit's gonna hit the fan when the Empire Strikes Back.
All right. So that is the.
So now you know what we're talking about, because
Right.
how often do you watch our show or talk to us in
Boba
person
Fett.
and go, the hell are you talking about? Here's one case where we've explained it to you. All right, well, it's time for the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, man.
It's time for the Oscars.
There it is.
Great.
I couldn't
Movie
find
lovers
my.
unite. Everybody else, just don't watch. Don't complain. And shut up and go away. That's it.
You'll have a good time.
Have a fun time.
Have a fun time.
Now, in order to talk about what we think should win the Oscars this year, we're going to have to do two things. First of all, say what we haven't seen. Well, I'll say what I haven't seen.
It's going to be much quicker.
I think I said it before, but I didn't get to Passing It or Annette or Come On to see if they were worth nominations, or 9 Days either, for the card counter. Stuff that was nominated I didn't get to. Unfortunately, I haven't seen Flea yet. Apparently, it's the documentary that's animated, so it's nominated in both categories. Which is crazy.
Right. Oh,
and I
I've
haven't
heard.
seen Cyrano. Cyrano is
Okay.
probably the latest released movie of them all.
Yeah.
And the window's been really small. I'm trying to catch up on other stuff, so I haven't seen Cyrano yet, or many of the documentaries. Although I saw some of the shorts, so that was fun.
You're always good at being a completist. You always see the shorts. You see not always the documentary stuff, I guess, but yeah, you always see the shorts.
Well, if you live in LA, one of the best things to do is they have Oscar Week at the Motion Picture Academy, and you can go down and they'll have days devoted to all these various categories. Like they'll have short film, documentaries, subject, and live action short night. And Kenneth Branagh was nominated in 1993 for one of his short films, and so he hosted a night a few years back. Or they get somebody like that. Peter Riegert hosted one night. Peter Riegert.
Wonderful.
And so all the filmmakers show up. You watch the shorts, and they, since they're 5 to 30 minutes long a piece, you basically get in a whole night of movie going and Q&As with everybody, and it's usually like $5. And they do the same with the animated documentary and other categories. Makeup and hair, I think they do as well, but you don't get to see the films. Obviously you can't watch like 5 2-hour movies and then have a Q&A, but you can take part in all these things most of the time for free. And they're back this year. I noticed my schedule's making it tough for me to get to them, but if you live in this area, take advantage of that. I've done it in the past and it's really cool. But they also do make the rounds. Like the short films are in the theaters, just like at the yep, there you go. It's usually at the Samuel
that Goldwyn Theater, man.
The Samuel Goldwyn, one of those. It's down in Wilshire most of the time.
Yeah,
huge theater. It's where I saw how the West was won and all that. Once Upon a Time in the West, I should say. But the other thing you need to know before we talk about the Oscars is what is our top 10 movies of the year. So once you know that, then you can see where we're coming from when we start to pick the winners of who we think should win the Oscars, and of course who we predict will win. Doesn't always line up, although they've had some success lately with that. With me, so top 10 movies of the year. Adam, let's do number 10 on our list. You got your list?
I do have my list.
All right,
and this is as telling as the number of Best Pictures that I haven't seen as well.
All right, so your number 10 movie of the year. What do you got?
Now this was fun to put together because I'm not a ranker. I've never ranked until I started hanging out with some of our new friends in the Schmodown. Some of them are pretty obsessive rankers, and we'll put up, like Dan Merle, put up, okay, here's where this one goes in my Batman top 10. And I never did that before, so this is kind of fun. This is like the first time I've been ranking things. So I had to first write down all the movies I saw last year, all the new releases at least, which only came out to about 30 movies. I'm slightly embarrassed. But my number 10 was Ghostbusters Afterlife.
A fine choice.
Yeah.
Just outside my top 10, but...
And all the Oscar movies are they're in the 11 through 20 range, and then it gets to like Ryan Reynolds movies. So yeah.
Listen, when you go to the New Beverly...
Last 10 are Ryan Reynolds movies.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to keep up with what's new. A damn fine pick. Again, I think I said this when the movie came out. I actually enjoyed the new stuff more than the nostalgic stuff. So that bodes well for the future of the franchise. That I thought they had new characters and things going on that.
It's a perfect format for a Goonies movie, and it goes full Goonies at the end too. I mean, I love. Yeah.
He's ranking. He's the rank.
I'm ranking. I'm a rancor. But I love, I love this is what I love about Marvel movies too. They start far afield. I mean, I guess every movie starts far afield of where it's going to end up going. But this one, as they start putting the pieces together of the Ghostbusters thing, then once these kids are kid Ghostbusters, which is great, kid Ghostbusters, then all of a sudden they're on a bucket going down into the thing. And it's like, we've got full Goonies, baby. It's pretty good. It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I did. And I should share this. I did my first. Let's see if I can get it here. Oh, it's not loading. I did my first Ecto-1 birthday party of the year.
You did?
Last weekend. I went to a kid's 4th birthday with the Ecto-1 in full gear and the 2 inflatables and everything and the giant Slimer. And we had ourselves a Ghostbusters party. And first of all, kudos to the parents for that kid being 4.
Because that's a parent choice.
And the kid loves it. He had a Ghostbusters shirt. He had a little, didn't have a full proton pack, but they had the gun of it, and he shot and the end of it spun around and sparked.
Oh, and, nice.
That was really cool. So
wow. Now I wonder if it's like Ghostbusters Afterlife. They couldn't have shown that to the kid. What could the kid have seen it for that wouldn't be scary?
I guess Ghostbusters. I mean, maybe he just got thick skin, but I talked to him. He knew the female one. I mean, obviously my Ecto-1 is fashioned after the 2016 film, so he knew all that. He knew I inflated the Marshmallow Man. He's like, Marshmallow Man! So
okay.
He just knows the stuff. Anyway, good parenting. Yeah. Well done, family in Brentwood.
The cartoon might be on Hulu right now. I think like the full season went up on one of the streaming platforms, so maybe the kid's seen that too, because that's great for kids.
Yeah. Well, for me, number 10, man, it was a better year for movies than I thought. Once you start going back over them, it's like, fuck, I can do a top 20 because I have to leave out The Last Duel, which I thought was excellent. I have to leave out In the Heights, which was a great musical movie. Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, probably the funniest movie I saw last year in a year not loaded with comedies.
Right.
Candyman, one of the better horror films of last year, perhaps my favorite. Black Widow, probably my favorite superhero movie. Well, that's not true. You'll see my top 10. But certainly up there. The Worst Person in the World, great foreign film. Zola, if you haven't seen Zola, that movie is off the chart. It's nuts. It's a great crime and whatever movie. It's fantastic.
I'm putting that on my list.
Oscar nominees Belfast and West Side Story, which I both thought were great, but they just go outside my top 10 to make room for, and again, a lot of back and forth to figure this out, but I just fucking loved The Suicide Squad.
Oh,
I just thought that movie was great. Number
pretty
10,
high on my list.
You got to put something nuts in there. Is it ranked in your 10?
Oh yeah.
All right, where is it? You can tell me where it is. Then.
Oh! It's battling it out for number one. It did ultimately come in.
Suspense then. Leave us in
Yeah. This is one like this is like I said. I'm not a rancor, but I was just like, what is my favorite movie of the year? The Suicide Squad, man. It's like everything I love about superhero movies that was never really done before. Like, it's just like this idea of the potential of something like this and being these superheroes and being these obscure superheroes, and seeing some of these oddball things come to life, and the fact that it's the third in the Harley Quinn trilogy. When did we ever expect we were going to get that? Yeah, boy, that was a lot of joy. And then, of course, the Peacemaker show with one of my favorite superheroes of all time, Vigilante, comes out right on the heels of this. So I can't help but love this through that, also, obviously. So,
well, they don't shy away from having these guys be bad. They're villains. They're not pleasant. But when it comes time for hero moment, especially turning their back on Viola Davis's character there and deciding to, in fact, save the day. Huge hero, one of the best hero moments. And, I've said this before, between Zack Snyder's Justice League and the Suicide Squad, DC has to make a movie twice for me to love it. And
those poor guys.
We've touched on the pulse of the nation.
Right.
But so that is they finally got it right with the second one, which is good because I'd hate for them to make this 7 or 8 times and finally get it. But this was just dirty, filthy, fun, action-packed, totally unpredictable. Nobody was safe. The action moments were, you didn't know what you were going to get. I thought it was fantastic.
Oh no, so unpredictable. That the opening and stylish, with the songs and the way all the text and graphics come up, and then also it gets to be that totally James Gunn 90s comedy vibe with the interactions between the people, and how the dumb vigilante superhero from the dumb 90s comic book is that guy in this movie. There are a lot of different types of superheroes, and these are many of them. The Dots, Mr. Polka Dot Man. I mean, all the maybe the most maligned, besides Kite Man, maybe the most maligned superhero character of all time from very much, 50s weird comics where there was continuity. Marvel invented the idea of continuity. Last week's comic matters. That didn't happen until the 60s and 70s, But, so you'd have Polka Dot Man, he'd be the villain for the week, and they'd throw him away. But they bring those people back now in the comics and try and give them, some edge or whatever. But the idea of putting one in a movie, we're up to that now? I'm so happy. It's so good.
All right, so I'm going to move a little faster to get through this. But number 10 for Adam, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Number 10 for me, Suicide Squad. Adam, what is your number 9?
My number 9 is Eternals. I do love Eternals. Man, what a big swing for Marvel.
Totally.
What? I mean, there was only 2 normal people in the whole movie. Everybody's in costume the entire movie. This is an actual superhero movie. Everything else is movies about people who become superheroes and do superhero things in costume, things like that. This is actual superheroes. And it's just such a throw down the gauntlet for Marvel of we got nothing left to prove, and here's the degree of difficulty we've chosen for ourselves for our new set of movies. Eternals. Oh my God. Like there's just nothing like Eternals, and I've seen it a couple times now. It gets better and better. I understand people not knowing what to make of it the first time they see it, but man, Marvel has just gone big and comic book. And this is just a really big Marvel comic book movie. This really feels like a comic book as much as anything else, you know? This is making no apologies. You know, I hate apologies in superhero movies. Like, sorry, we're not really a superhero movie. Really, we're about a guy who's just like you or me. You know, no. It's like, these are gods. This is what they're, this is what they're doing. It's just so cool. It's just like, it's like the most shocking. And I told you, after every Marvel movie, I walk out and go, okay, that's the best one. That is the best one. I mean, I've done that consistently ever since like Iron Man 3 or something. I'm like, nope, that's the best one. Nope, that's the best one. Anyway, Eternals.
And that was, it's crazy to think that all of the other superhero movies we saw in the Marvel Universe exist because the Eternals did their thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they do it wrong, the whole world's done. Like the world is over.
Right.
Not like Black Widow and her other widows get hurt or whatever.
Right.
The world is gone.
No, and I think that's the first.
The big stakes.
Yeah. Oh no, sorry, I was confusing that with a different fact. The different fact I had was that the new James Bond movie was the first time that James Bond saves Earth. But this Marvel people have obviously saved Earth many times. But this one's, big and galactic and Jack Kirby and like straight out of the pages of a Jack Kirby 1960s cover, you know? It's really cool. And they're in colorful costumes the entire time. Each one a new color. Like for all the complaining about like, why is everyone in gray? You know, you're adapting a comic book. This one's like, here we are. I'm green, red, blue, yellow. Like, and they all do their thing. And each one of them has like superpowers that like I've never seen in any movie so far.
Yeah.
I mean, Marvel's made 29 movies or something now. And I'm like, this one is completely original. How do they keep doing it? I don't know. Snorting unicorn tears.
Well, it took forever for us to review this, but my number 9, Free Guy.
Oh, way up there, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I could put it. It's tough to put it ahead of something that's exceptionally well made, like Belfast or West Side Story.
I know that's the thing, but I had to go preference because I can't get caught up in that. Well, Free Guy's not technically a movie. Well,
whatever. I put it as it's the best summer movie on there, and a best summer movie deserves a place on a top 10.
Tell the Academy.
Exactly. So, right? Yeah. This movie is such a blast. I just got it on Blu-ray, so expect a backyard screening sometime soon. We'll watch Free Guy in all its glory.
It executes to its premise better than many, many, many movies.
Yeah, continually surprises. Got a great sense of humor. I mean, I said Barb and Star might be the funniest movie of the year, but this is pretty damn funny as well. But it just had so much more else to do. It was more ambitious, and I love that the story between the coders is equally as interesting as the story between in the world of the game.
Yeah, didn't see
like,
that
it all
coming.
worked. It all worked. So that movie is highly entertaining. Best summer movie of the year.
Just a clever idea, man. What a clever idea.
Yeah.
The
What's your 8?
Character. My 8 now, I don't know. I had this listed as a movie that came out in 2021. Did Zack Snyder's Justice League come out this year, or do you consider that last year?
Came out in March 21. Yep.
Okay. So Zack Snyder's Justice League. Never in my life did I think I'd get to see that there'd be an excuse for that someone would allow to happen a 4-hour Justice League movie. I mean, complain all you want about any individual element of that. I'm like, a 4-hour live action Justice League movie, and it's good. I mean, wow. It's like I just never imagined anything like that I would have in my lifetime. It's such a thrill to watch. It didn't make it into my Batman rewatch, but in fact, neither did Batman vs. Superman. But I probably will now transition into Batman vs. Superman and Zack Snyder's Justice League because I got to give it another watch. It's just too glorious. It's just really epic superhero storytelling. And it may not be as good a story as Eternals or Suicide Squad. I don't think. It's still got its problems, but hell yeah.
We'll get a look at it here. Yeah, so to me, this was, I just said that it was better than the original, obviously, but one of that and The Suicide Squad and this are my 2 favorite DC movies, and taking the time to tell the story. Snyder, to me, still has a penchant for cinematic tricks that don't quite pay off for me, but like now I cared about Cyborg, didn't before.
Yeah.
You know, taking the time to lay out his story and make it important. And and there was much more about it I really enjoyed. I did no problem watching however the hell long. Was it 4 hours?
4 hours, man. A 4-hour Justice League movie exists. It's, in 4K Ultra HD. I might have to get that. So much superior to whatever you want to call the other version. Yeah.
I guess you call it Joss Whedon's Justice League.
Well, it's Joss Whedon's Justice League. Yeah, exactly. And that one is the one that's full of excuses. Well, we're not really a superhero movie, so if you don't like those things, you should come. Like that's what feels like that movie to me. This one's like, you better like superhero movies because that's all this one is. But the thing is, I like Zack Snyder as a visualist. Because, I mean, all of these shots, when they don't have to be cut down and truncated and just allowed their glory, it's really a sight to behold. I mean, it is special. It is. I think as a visual stylist, he's really great. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I dislike Zack Snyder at all, really. I'm not sure. I mean, do I want every superhero movie to have this color palette? Of what you have up here? No. But you know, I can go watch Eternals if I want to see a guy in red, a guy in green, a guy in yellow, and a guy in blue, you know. Or Shazam, which is kind of nice as well.
Yeah, and he might be done, but what a way to go out, I think, for his involvement with DC. I mean, certainly, if you know, you talk about these movies not apologizing. If anything, this was an apology to me for Batman versus Superman, which I hated. But
yeah,
that's me. All right, my number 8 was The Harder They Fall, and if you haven't gone to Netflix to watch this yet, it is badassery at its finest.
Still haven't seen it.
Idris Elba, Regina King, Lakeith Stanfield, Jonathan Majors, and on and on. It's a stacked cast.
Yeah, God, that cast.
And a big old revenge Western tale, man. It was just ugly and loud and bloody and awesome. It's got everything.
Well, I'm excited not only to see this movie, but, you know, Black Movie Soundtrack is back at the Hollywood Bowl, and I do some work on that. And so this I have a feeling this one's full of some great shots for some content for that show. Be cool.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. I wish I could remember the director's name, but I saw this with a Q&A, and it may have said what the line was that he said back when I reported on going to this Q&A. It was he had a problem with blacks being represented in Westerns, and he's like, I don't critique, I create. And so he made this. And
nice.
It's awesome. Nice. When I say go see it, you just got to go to the TV, so check it out.
That's great. That's awesome. So that was your number 7?
That was 8. Oh, we got to move faster. All right, what's your 7?
My 7 is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which I like.
I sense a theme happening.
Look, there's certain type of movies I do like. I tried to not make my top 5 all superhero movies, so they are, you know, I tried to give thought to other genres and other type of movies. Yes, the Oscar ones are definitely in the 11 to 20 range, but Shang-Chi. I mean, come on, it's like, again, Marvel. They're down on the roster, way down the roster, and they just turn in. If this were the very first Marvel movie, you'd be like, man, I think these guys are onto something, you know? And by the end of every Marvel movie, metaphorically, somebody's going to ride a dragon. You're going to start you're going to start parking cars or whatever, you know, each one of them starts in their own individual place. You're going to start as a doctor, whatever. But by the end, you're going to be opening portals. You're going to be riding dragons. And Marvel just does that so smoothly and so entertainingly. And some of the best action sequences. I mean, the action sequences are so. I've seen this movie like 3 times, and it's just like, when the next one starts to show up and we get into it, it's like it just gets so exciting. And also, just I like, you know, not only building upon the rest of everything that Marvel's done. Now we know they've gone back to square one in some way. They're starting with new origin stories. You know, this is an origin story. Eternals is an origin story of a sort. And what they're doing exactly what they did before, starting with Iron Man, Captain America, you know, the legendary originals. Philip Noyce. But you know, they're also forming the new Avengers. So this series that we're going to watch this year and some of next year is going to form the new Avengers. And you're just sitting here like, it's the new Avengers are going to be Shang-Chi, somebody from the Eternals, you know, like it's going to, they're building up their characters again for like, who's going to be in the new Avengers. It's going to be very exciting.
Like, Spider-Man. I don't want to see Joker, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, interact with anybody in the DC. He's just such a horrible thing. I don't want him to be any part of the rest of that universe that was now created by Matt Reeves. But I long to see the Eternals mix it up. How are they even going to play in? You know, like an Eternal shows up to help out Black Widow. It's just like, I got sticks, and these I can destroy the universe. You know, so whatever they do, they'll plot it out so it's effective and amazing. So
it's going to be interesting. It's going to be way fun. Just to have a new lineup of the Avengers, and we're watching it be built right now, one at a time, one break at a time.
Yep.
That's
and the worst part is, as soon as they ended Endgame, I'm like, oh, Cap is out and Iron Man is out. The two biggest names in this thing. Wait a minute. One guy's movie made more than all of them. Black Panther. He'll lead the next show. I was like, oh, shit, Boseman dies. So it's like, okay, now they got to figure out who's going to be like the person. Turns out, of course, it's Spidey. But number 7 for me, and Adam, tell me this is on your list. If it's not, I'm sure you just forgot it came out. No Sudden Move.
Oh, I didn't forget that came out.
Good.
that is my prestige picture in my top 10.
Yeah, it got lost in HBO. I think no one talks about it except you and me.
I watched this. If I told you the way I watched this, I watched it and then I watched it the next day and then I watched it like 3 days after that. You would think I was talking about a Batman movie. I treated this movie exactly like I do an obsessive superhero movie. I love this movie, and I have had numerous nights where I see that it's there, it's available to me to be watched, and I go, I just watched the beginning of it. And 45 minutes later, I'm like, it's time to go to bed. I adore this movie.
I love this movie. I love the return of Brendan Fraser.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it's a shame that, these Soderbergh movies just kind of show up on HBO and no one talks about them because they should. This movie is awesome. And make it your at-home double feature with The Harder They Fall. This and that. Right. This on HBO, Harder They Fall on Netflix. There's your at-home double feature.
I mean, I haven't thought in years of like, who's my favorite director? I used to very much have favorite directors, but now sometimes my old favorite directors won't make a movie for 7 or 8 years, or will turn out a string of like, oh, that's okay, that's good, or doing more late career type thing. Soderbergh might be my favorite director because he's never made a bad movie. And I don't think he's ever made a movie that I'm not obsessed with. I think Steven Soderbergh is my favorite director right now. Hats off to some of my OG faves. Spielberg still churning them out. But Soderbergh, from day one to now, like No Sudden Move is as exciting as watching Schizopolis for me, or as exciting as watching Out of Sight. Like it's
yeah, and he just put out another movie called Kimi. But I mean,
how lucky am I? I get to watch this. I keep learning every day that it exists, and until I finally.
Oh, and there it is. Someone just brought it up. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right,
and it's gonna be amazing.
That's my number 7. Your number 6.
My number 6, Black Widow. I love this Black Widow. Finally, Kevin Feige is a huge James Bond fan. He's ended every Marvel with Iron Man will return. He's always made those references. He's a big Star Wars fan also. Everybody in every Marvel movie, somebody gets a hand cut off. But he finally got to make his James Bond movie with Black Widow. And it's just such a joy to behold that story. And one of my favorite villains of all time, Taskmaster. I bought the Avengers issue with Taskmaster's first appearance, which has an amazing cover on it, just because I was obsessed with Taskmaster. He's just a cool-looking villain, had the powers of all the superheroes and stuff. So I was a huge fan of Taskmaster. I'm a huge fan of whenever you bring extended, universe or people into the fold of the Marvel Universe, like the Red, I forget what he's called, the Red... whatever he is there, the Red Commando guy.
Yeah.
Who's that in the far...
David Harbour, but Red...
Yeah.
Red Sonja. Red
Sonja. But anyway, this one, this is when I started noticing that when I leave a Marvel movie, I go, okay, that's the best one. So Black Widow was the first one this year. I'm like, that's the best one they've ever made. And then Chongqi, I was like, okay, that's the best one. Eternals, that's the best one. But Red Guardian, thank you. Excellent. God bless you guys. Who is that in the upper right in that poster?
Oh, is that Ray Winstone's character?
Oh, is that Ray Winstone?
So.
Yeah. Which Marvel actor?
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, Black Widow, man. Oof. Love that Black Widow. And that was my favorite Marvel movie of the year.
Saw it twice. Loved it.
No, I got 2 more. Three more?
Of course you do.
Oh, no, it's not my favorite. No, sorry. I got another one coming up.
My second favorite Andrew Garfield movie of the year is number 6 for me, Tick, Tick, Boom.
Okay, yeah.
Again, over on Netflix. As much as I bitch about Netflix, they keep greenlighting things that are awesome.
This is number 6 for you?
Yeah, I saw it like 2 or 3 days ago, and it's excellent. And I am shocked at how well Lin-Manuel Miranda directed this movie.
Right.
It's about Jonathan Larson. This is the musical he wrote before Rent, and it's kind of just a spew of emotions he's feeling as he's about to turn 30. Wow. And this is a really cool concept for a musical in that you see him positioned there at the piano. So we have him doing the onstage performance of the music of this movie, intercut with real life situations that obviously,
wrote it,
spurned him to write these songs. But then a musical could break out in those moments as well. And they cut between all three exceptionally well. And that makes it just a fast paced, energetic musical. And Andrew Garfield is excellent, as he always is, wisely and smartly nominated for Best Actor. And so, yeah, I thought that was a great movie and a surprise great movie. I'm like, oh, I should see this because he's nominated. And I was like, no, this is one of the best films I've seen this year. This is, and I looked at the poster for that and I thought, what is Tick, Tick, Boom? Is it some concert performance? I couldn't quite tell, but no, this is a full-on movie and a very cinematic one at that, from someone making their film debut. Someone who I was fearing was getting like, I thought Lin-Manuel Miranda was getting a little, what's the word, oversaturated.
Oversaturated.
It's like with all the Encanto stuff, and then he's in this, and no one cared that he was in Mary Poppins, and Hamilton's still going, and in Moana. It's like, how much of him can we take? And it's like, but this is great too. So,
and there's something else that he wrote. There was a movie that came out earlier this year too, right? There's like another. There was another Lin-Manuel Miranda written, like something he had written a long time ago.
Yeah, Encanto was.
There was something else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But speaking of
In the Heights. In the Heights. So there's a lot.
So we can't even remember. He's done so many things we can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But In the Heights was excellent. So it's like, and Encanto is probably going to win the Oscar. So I mean, he's just on top of the world.
But was Never Let Me Go?
That's an old Andrew Garfield movie.
Yeah. Oh, okay, gotcha. So I thought there was another one.
Show him some love for Andy. What's your number 5?
Godzilla vs. Kong, baby.
Oh, God, really? Okay, here's where I finally go.
Look, we're talking favorites, not best. I don't know if that's
of course.
I don't know if that's the 5th best movie released this year, but it is definitely my 5th favorite movie of the year. I mean, come on, man. This thing was such a visual spectacle. I mean, they went full. Again, these movies generally tease, the first Godzilla is like, well, he's not going to fight. And just as you would ever expect, he's not going to fight Ghidorah or any of that. But this one, Ghidorah, Rodan, and all of them, shot in this just gorgeous, beautiful frames. And Godzilla versus Kong, what a great cinematic tradition, from that movie and King Kong. And this is the stuff I marveled at as a kid, man. I loved Godzilla movies so much. I loved King Kong movies so much. The fact that they finally got together, Godzilla and Kong, and it's just this beautiful visual spectacle that, the plot, I don't even know what's going on in that movie, but it's a lot of running around saying, where's my kids? And then he gets up with his kids, but then he immediately splits up with them. And then he goes, where's my kids? What are you even doing? It's very strange motivations.
The Oscars take your cue at one of these years. We don't know what the hell's going on in this, but anyway, congratulations, The Godfather.
It could have been up for animated movie, David says. But so I don't know, Godzilla versus Kong. And also the beautiful shots of these creatures and these characters, and they all come straight out of Starlog or Famous Monsters of Filmland. I saw so many freeze frames, and I was like, I've seen that poster or whatever. People used to have the Ghidorah poster with the lightning coming down. That's in the movie. So I really just as a fan, what a dream come true. My gosh, yeah. Loved it.
Can't join you on that trek, but I think you'll agree with my number 5. Although, because I didn't agree with this one, you're welcome to not agree with my number 5.
Oh, yours are going to be quality. I'm just going to be more crap.
You're going to like my number 5, Spidey.
Oh.
Because I thought
what a miracle.
Avengers Endgame was an incredible feat. Taking 10 11 years of movies and 23 films or whatever, and making something like final to all those storylines is just really hard to do. Well, try taking intellectual properties from other studios, actors from those movies, and finding a way to get them all together through a multiverse storyline, and do it with charm and seeming ease. Just the movie is a joy to behold, and thank the Lord it's a big time hit, because it totally deserves it.
And people said of Ghostbusters, they said, "Oh, well, I was kind of really hoping that the Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, return, but it's more of a cameo, And they're like, I was kind of hoping they would go back." I'm like, you're pretty spoiled, because that never used to happen. This type of movie would be one where you're like, "Hey, I was that Tobey Maguire? It was. Yeah. Hey, was that Andrew Garfield? Yeah, it was.
Hey, did you see a Green Goblin running? He went that way, kid. Hey, that was Tobey Maguire."
Oh, hey, that was cool.
He went that way, kid.
Right.
Oh, God.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Oh, Aykroyd's cameo was like that in 2016.
It was
not good.
It was like, come on, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But this movie is such a miracle, because it is none of that. It is within the Marvel Universe, and every cameo comes back for the whole movie.
Yeah.
The whole plot.
Yeah.
Everybody's back for that. Everybody's involved in the whole plot. Everybody's. And you know what? And you can see the decision at the top of someone going, you know what's always disappointing? When a cameo comes back, or when someone comes back and it's just a cameo. Like, you could see the need to please the audience from Marvel's point of view is just what I love about them so much, of like, what if it was the most satisfying version of what you think could never be done in a superhero movie? Yeah, what if it was? And
did Michael Mann underserve the fans by just having Pacino and De Niro have one meal together? What if Garfield, Holland, and Maguire have a long conversation about what it's like to be Spider-Man before they even fight together, and they do lab shit together? Like, they're essential to the plot, and it makes it so much more fun.
And Doctor Strange, it's set right in the Marvel Universe. Yeah,
That's
right.
a great line. All right, what is your number 4, Adam?
Number 4, No Time to Die. Dun-dun-dun. I mean, I love my genres. I love my tent poles. I love sequels, prequels, all this stuff. Boy, No Time to Die was something special. And I went and watched that immediately, like the following week in the theater. Saw that twice in the theater, and I've watched it once since. I watched it with my mom, and I never reviewed it on this because it doesn't occur to me, and this is why I don't go see superhero movies like the opening with people a lot. Like, I might need to watch this by myself, because every once in a while, like watching The Batman, you step outside of yourself and you go, this is probably super dumb though, right? Like if like a rational person were next to me and they'd go, like I'm like, yeah, probably that line would have elicited that. I don't need that in my life. So, but No Time to Die, I watched that with my mom, and she's like, this is the worst James Bond movie I've ever seen. And I hadn't considered her point of view, which is Connery, like travelogue, glamorous, everybody dressed up, got to go to the special fancy event or whatever. This is like super gritty or whatever. And she's like, what is this? Like, she spent the entire time going, this is the worst James Bond movie I've ever seen. From her point of view, I guess I actually understand. But we're much more versed in this Bond and this tone, and oh, what fun. I love me a good James Bond movie, period. These have been such a treat. What a way to end it all. Just so much pure joy. And again, these are my favorite movies of the year. So it's just like, I look at that. I think of this movie and I'm just like, oh, guys, so good. So good. So good.
Yeah, he's my favorite Bond.
Woo,
so
good.
A little to do with timing, but also a ton to do with just, I think making it have higher stakes and making it harder to win and making it less jokey was a successful take from back in 2006 to the present.
Yeah.
My number 4 is let's see if I can find it. King Richard.
Oh,
this is getting all kinds of acclaim, but at its heart, this is just a crowd pleaser of a movie.
Right. That's why I can't wait to watch this.
Great.
Yeah.
And you just cheer, and then right when you think you've watched like a great drama, it's also a sports movie, and it's like I love sports movies, and I love courtroom dramas, I love murder mysteries. That's why Death of the Nile, I could give it all the faults I think it has in production, but in the end, it's a murder mystery. I love murder mysteries. I love courtroom dramas. I love sports movies. So this is that plus high drama. Will Smith is, again, I want to say he's the best he's ever been, but he's so great in The Pursuit of Happiness. And this, they're both two of his, and Ali, three of his finest performances, I think, right there. And so he's just being remarkably consistent when the material is right, and that's certainly the case here.
And from what I assume, I can't wait to see this one myself, but it just seems like Will Smith doing that Will Smith thing. I mean, the guy's so charming. I never want to see him be not Will Smith, and just like playing the dad role, and just it's just like I have a feeling like he Will Smiths the hell out of this part. Right?
What's interesting though is Richard Williams.
Charm for days.
Yeah, Richard Williams though had no reason to have that kind of charm coming from Compton with gangs and drive-bys and stuff, and trying to get his kids into tennis, like the whitest of the white sports, that there is. Yeah. So he had charm, but he was fighting through a lot, including a lot of personal fallibilities, whatever. That's not the word. Infallible. He's infallible. He's not infallible. He's fallible.
The opposite of infallible. Indomitable.
Yes.
Abdominable. The abdominal snowman.
The abdominable. Anyway, he's a flawed character and plays that well.
Well,
so he doesn't rely on the charm, and I think that's what's good about it. He has the charm because he's Will Smith, but he doesn't rely on it. He actually plays the character.
Oh, he does.
More complicated that way. So the charm is there, but it's filtered through some real good work trying to make this a complicated character.
Because it would be no offense. It would be no offense to Richard Williams to say that he's not as charming as Will Smith in real life. Right? I mean, that's just a push, right? I mean, that's just known. Yeah.
All right. What's your number 3?
Number 3. Now, see, this is significant for me because obviously I like my James Bond. I like my sequels. I like my, that sort of thing. I put this one above it on principle because it really, he's my favorite director. This is No Sudden Move, baby. Number 3 movie of the year. No Sudden Move. Soderbergh's back. He's here forever. This movie rocks so much. I could put it, if you ask me, what do I want to watch right now? Do I want to watch Batman versus Superman or is No Sudden Move? It's No Sudden Move.
Yeah.
Which I guess doesn't sound like a compliment for you. But anyway.
Right. Number 3, for me, I got to go with Don't Look Up.
Ooh, it's a good one. Yeah, that one's
written, shot, acted, and edited within an inch of its life. All stops pulled, and
that should have been in my top 10.
A big swing for the fences with this. Adam McKay has an agenda, and it's inconsistent. I know that. I know Jonah Hill's character is in another movie, and I know like Trump spoofing is a little tired, but everything
not the way they
is
did
fantastic. Yeah, that's true. But to me, just the idea of lambasting a society that ignores scientists is so needed.
And I've said it before.
He does it in an entertaining way, as he always does.
Yeah, and I've said it before, but I'll say it again. 3 words, don't look up, encapsulates all of the politics of the last 20 years. It's insane. Like the Fox News politics thing, don't look up. Don't do the basic thing that is needed to be done to find out the answer you claim to be looking for. Don't do that. I mean, that is very, very, very clever. That is beyond regular satire. That is way beyond Saturday Night Live. 3 words that absolutely encapsulate the politics of our times. It's genius. So yeah, the rest of it can be Saturday Night Live, and there's some great sketches in this thing. Like it just goes sketch to sketch to sketch for a while, which is great because that's what I want from Adam McKay.
But if you talk about like the moments of the year, I'd say one of the best moments of last year could have been like Andrew Garfield's first arrival in No Way Home, and the crowd. I hadn't heard a crowd go berserk like that in 2 years.
I know.
Or when Ryan Reynolds pulls out Captain America's shield and Free Guy, like it was just such a great moment. But when DiCaprio delivers that monologue, and you get the frustration of every scientist in the country at how they're being subjugated by stupid fucks, it's awesome. And DiCaprio is, he's on board with the message, and his performance is stellar and heartbreaking. And of course, the word is his final line in the movie was improvised, and that moment is fantastic as well.
I might have forgotten that. I need to watch that again.
Yes, I will spare telling you what it is. Go watch the movie and be shocked by the final line.
Yeah, I need to watch that one again after I finish watching the rest of these Oscar movies.
What's your number 2?
Number 2 is The Suicide Squad. Boy, and for me, to put this above Black Widow and Shang-Chi, I'm just so devoted to Marvels, and I really appreciate on a macro level the big swings they're taking, the big choices they're making. Nobody gives them any credit for it. Everyone's like, oh, Black Widow, it's basically the same story as Iron Man. That's that very lazy kind of because I understand, and I get it. Nobody really wants to give a shit about superhero movies. They are stupid. They are dumb. They don't need to exist. But I love them, and they're being taken very seriously.
Especially when they rise above their genre like they're doing since 2008.
That's the thing. There isn't one. This is what I've been saying for decades now, because I've been a live-action superhero movie adopter since the day we met, and that was not a good year to be a live-action superhero fan,
Phantom? Right,
yeah, The Phantom, right? Opening weekend, I'm at The Phantom. Because I'm like, it's a superhero. It's a guy in purple spandex. Let's see what they do. But they didn't do anything with those stories back then. They did, The Crow. The Crow City of Angels I went to see in the theater. But that's all you had back then. But for in my head also is an ideal superhero movie that is not necessarily Superman. Superman's not going to be the best superhero story you can tell. Batman's not necessarily good, but Batman has a sufficient nuance that it makes it fun and makes something like the Batman make you go, wow, they've never made a Batman movie before, because this all seems quite new to me, Suicide Squad, I could never articulate it. I tried many screenplays to articulate this idea of the low rent superhero and it's just like, I watched the Suicide Squad and I'm like, somebody hooked something up to my brain and pumped it into this movie that I could never articulate myself as being a wonderful comedic ideal in superhero movies, because Eternals is not funny. It's not ha-ha funny, but Suicide Squad is ha-ha funny. And just like the low rent superhero thing, it just aces a genre that it's invented, kind of, the low rent superhero movie, And also, Suicide Squad, the previous one, is the most frustrating exercise in superhero filmmaking I've bore witness to since The Phantom, or since Crow City of Angels, because everybody in their head has what that movie should be, and it does none of that. None of it. Like, everything everybody went into, oh, okay, I bet what it is then they get released, and then they figure out that they actually are the good guys, and they actually end up saving the day, and I don't know. It's just like none of that happens. No, they get in a helicopter and it crashes, and then it's like, what the fuck? So the vindication of making the other Suicide Squad, which I want to like because it's a superhero movie, watchable again is also cool. It's good, but Ratcatcher 2. Ratcatcher 2.
Number 2 for me, and after much debate, because again, a tougher year to rank stuff. I mean, my number 1 was I had it in the bag. What's number 2? What is number 8 and 7? I read 10 more movies I'd left off my list, like Black Widow and Belfast and In the Heights. But my number 2 after all of it, Nightmare Alley.
Ooh, god damn, that's a good movie.
I think it's my favorite Del Toro movie. I need to see it again. It was just a filthy noir movie, and I just appreciated Del Toro actually restraining himself a little bit, not doing all the crazy fantasy stuff he felt he needed to do, And
yet,
I just picture Sally Hawkins talking about alien dick or whatever in Shape of Water and going, "This is Best Picture. This is Best Picture material. It's my favorite nominee of all the Oscar nominations." That they recognized it after it didn't find an audience unfairly, and hopefully the audience is finding it now on Hulu. Bradley Cooper is excellent. This is a great movie.
I mean, he doesn't make bad movies, does he? I mean, even Crimson Peak, I'm just like, that's a masterpiece. Nightmare Alley's a masterpiece.
See it again to verify that, but Pan's Labyrinth is a masterpiece.
Pan's Labyrinth is a masterpiece. Yeah. They're all masterpieces, and this movie, And especially I've only seen the black and white version, and I'm going to watch it again in the black and white version. I'm going to keep watching the black and white version, but I love that.
Is that on the disc or something?
Well, no, I mean it's right now. It's in at the New Beverly. They're going to show the black and white one.
Oh,
again.
That's right. They are.
But I also feel like on streaming, isn't there the option? I feel like I saw it somewhere else.
I'm not sure,
but to have that great Del Toro sideshow geek type stuff, I mean, it's just like. It's really Del Toro. He's such a Tim Burton. It's like getting an extra Tim Burton movie every time, except more so, really.
Go back and watch our interview with Mark Povinelli from December, I think. We're right about after this movie came out. And if you're not excited about this movie now, you will be.
Excellent.
All right, what is your number one movie?
I'm sure you can figure it out by now.
Let me just put it up here. Yep.
Go ahead and put it up there. I mean, my goodness, look, if you're going to have that many superhero movies in a top 10, and I haven't mentioned Spider-Man, No Way Home so far. Look, you're looking at a kid here that would get excited all week long when one of the Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man movies was going to be on TV Friday. Like, I would get excited all week. And then as of like 6 o'clock in the afternoon, nobody could watch anything but the channel that Spider-Man was going to come on as I ran around the living room making, so, just seeing any live action Spider-Man. I own the Supaidaman, the Japanese Spider-Man TV show, which I bought at a Comic-Con because, hey, live-action Spider-Man. Paul, I don't know if you ever came to any of my live-action superhero film fests. It's hilarious that I used to hold them in 99, and I'd watch all the superhero movies that 99 up until 99 was available. I had a student film that a guy had made trying to get the job directing Spider-Man away from James Cameron that was sold at Comic-Cons. It was like 45 minutes, but at least it was like in costume the entire time and wasn't mostly about Peter Parker because it was apologizing about being Spider-Man. But yeah, we've already talked to this movie to death, but it deserves to be talked to death because it's a true miracle. It's a true Avengers Endgame of a movie. It's like, I just can't believe this movie exists. Like all of my heavenly wishes as a superhero movie fan came true. They came true, and they come true over and over and over, man. It's the House of Ideas. Marvel does it again.
And my number one,
what's your number one?
It's Coda.
Coda. Oh, really? So you like that? Like you're like, if I have to put a movie in right now, it's going to be Coda.
I would love to see that again. Yeah, absolutely, because I just cried all over myself when I saw this movie. It's beautiful, and what's amazing is there aren't a lot of dramas that can surprise you. Like you watch an action movie and some character dies, you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Or if you're watching some murder mystery and it was this, and or a courtroom drama and the juror has been killed. What? There's all these surprise. This is a drama that has every time I watched this movie go somewhere, I'm like, well, clearly now when these two meet up, she's gonna tell him blah blah blah. Nope, something else happened. Okay. So it's surprised at every turn. The performances are outstanding. It's a difficult film to make. I think I went off on it before, but I'll give a brief rundown. Coda means child of deaf adults. The girl on the left there, Amelia Jones, sadly robbed of an Oscar nomination.
Okay, yeah.
She is the one daughter who can hear in the family of otherwise all the three others are deaf, and she wants to become a singer. Do they understand that at all? No. And so that's and then she's sort of been relied on to help their family fishing business as well because she can hear. So there's a whole family dynamic with what can she do? Should I go to college? Do I want to study this? Can I leave my family? And sounds very simple, played out excellently, top-notch script, and again, difficult to pull off, especially as a director dealing with, you've got deaf actors and you've got to get the point across to everybody about what the scene is. And I just thought it was outstanding and the most emotional experience I had at the movies this year, for sure.
Okay, yeah. No, and truthfully, I've almost put this in several times, but
I haven't seen Batman Forever. No.
But truthfully, I also have some other stuff going on here, and Batman Forever can be walked out of the room on. Yeah. So really, it's like for this and Belfast, and I really do want to fully sit down, give them all my attention, watch them on the big TV, not here while I'm working or anything like that. So that is the other thing is like Batman and Robin will facilitate me answering the phone and walking out of the room and getting other stuff done. Yeah,
and during award season, thankfully got to see this on the big screen. So even though it's an Apple TV Plus movie, on the big screen, it just is so effective and it's overwhelming, as movies should be. They should overwhelm you, and this one certainly did that. I had to wring out my mask when it was over.
Are these still screening anywhere? Because I really would like to see, any of these on the big screen.
Give a search, just search showtimes for the movies and check it out. Because there are. I mean, last I knew, Drive My Car was still playing.
Is it?
Although I don't recommend.
I really want to find. Really can't recommend that. Why is that nominated? Well, we'll get to it here in a second.
Well, we won't because it's 426.
It is 426.
So that's the Oscars. Ta-da!
So that's the Oscars. Well, see, I ruined it, Paul, because I haven't seen all the Oscar movies.
Well, let's go through some of our just real quick favorite nominations or things. That
let's go through the big ones at least.
Best Picture. Obviously, you know what I would choose as Coda, but will it win? No, that will be Power of the Dog, I believe.
Okay.
It's on too much of a run on awards leading up to that.
And it is a classic Best Picture. It is a good picture. Now, don't you think? Man, I don't know. I really dug that movie. That movie is, well, certainly it better win Best Director because that movie is directed more than written. It's even directed maybe more than shot. That's a directed movie because there's so many amazing takes in how that's told. The marriage takes place off screen. Well, I'm going to give him the bad news. Cut to long after that happened. It's like, what? And it keeps surprising you. And you're like, as that movie keeps you off your toes like that, it's a remarkable gift for a filmmaker. I mean, that's frankly like what I really go to as much as I go to movies for superheroes. But, for cinema, I do go to watch the storytelling, which is why I like, No So Move so much. That's one that just drops you in and gets going and you're trying to catch up and, sometimes you're grabbing the back of its bike and it's dragging you a little bit, But this one here, it does a similar thing without the extreme pace of storytelling that here you're like, what am I supposed to pay? When they get to the wedding and that happens off screen and then suddenly they walk in, the whole courtship happens off screen. They come in, they're married and you're like, well, what am I supposed to pay attention to in this movie? If it's deliberately taking all the moments that any movie gives to you, my dear, I love you so much. Have I told you I love you because we have met in the countryside and we are lovers? None of that in this movie.
I mean, just you don't have to twist my arm to go on about overwriting. That's my least favorite thing.
And so like, and as that kept happening, the movie then trains you in how to watch it. And then you start watching these little moments and you go, okay, that is the third time they've shown this thing that the first two times you're like, okay, well, that was a weird shot but again, off-putting. And then it adds up and adds up and adds up until it is wound so tight, metaphorically, that it just slams it home and that final. It's one of those like a movie. What's that? What's like the Michael Haneke movie where they're like, oh, everything's in the final shot. Like sometimes those are quite disappointing, and I can't remember what that's called, but this is one where it's like a very quiet final moment that might as well be a nuclear bomb of explosion of like, holy shit, that all came together. But that's all directing, so it has to win Best Director. But do you think they would have the guts to make West Side Story win Best Picture again?
No, I think
no respect for the remake idea.
But no, all the momentum's with Power of the Dog.
Yeah,
it just won the Critics' Choice Award.
It's a classic Best Picture.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I won't go on about why I didn't care for it as much as you did. I think the worst nominee there is Drive My Car. I saw that last night, and that is
okay. So what's the deal?
I mean, I hate to trash
why is it nominated?
These movies are the best. I don't know. I mean, there's certainly skill there in the fact that there's major choices made about that movie.
Okay.
And it's not that, oh, Paul, you can't watch a slow, quiet movie. I can, but the slow, quiet moments have to mean something.
Right.
They just seemed like they were. I mean, there's a scene where the characters drive from one city to another, and I swear it's real time. with nothing happening except shots of the car, and they stop to get food or whatever. I mean, it was like this. There's moments that are supposed to be a big deal that are brought up in the last third of the film that are major moments that like take characters out of the film or are a huge emotional thing. It's like, what? Why are we just being told this in the last third of the movie? You know, like it wasn't like some big switch to a thing that's been going on the whole film. It's like, and here's this. But
it's not like I love Last Days, right? I love like a slow burn like that, and that's why I wanted to go see that the Jean DeMille or whatever at the New Beverly, although it's probably tonight. But
probably,
yeah. Life's too short for a 3-hour movie about a woman peeling onions, but actually, it's not. I would love to be going to that tonight. I just don't know where I'm going to live in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I get super reserved emotions and social posturing in Japan, you know, but I don't know. I just didn't care for that one at all. The fact, the biggest omission to me I'm shocked by is that, first of all, they nominated 10 movies, which they don't always do. They can nominate 10. Sometimes they nominate 8. I'm like, give us 2 more.
Really?
I mean, if you
no
can
2 other
10,
movies could possibly meet your standard.
So they did 10 and still left out Being the Ricardos, and I was shocked by that. I thought that would make the list because of its prestige and fairly decent reception.
Yeah, but, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it didn't get there.
I'm not surprised it's not up for Best Picture. For some reason, I also feel like, I feel like that is the classic Hollywood tale that they would ordinarily nominate, but they are deliberately not nominating it because they ordinarily would, right?
So our picks would be Coda and The Power of the Dog, if it were me and you picking. Best Actress, I think we got Jessica Chastain, Olivia Colman, Penelope Cruz, Nicole Kidman, and Kristen Stewart. First of all, the great inclusion there is Kristen Stewart because the SAG Awards did not nominate her, and I think she's very, very good in Spencer. It's a little repetitive, her performance. It's just she's always frightened and crying and horrified by everything. She has the right to be. Living with the royal family is a nightmare from hell. But she deserved that nomination, I thought.
That's cool.
But again, there's too many good performances. Renata Rensby, whose name I'm sure I'm mispronouncing, the worst person in the world, is excellent. Thomasin McKenzie and Anya Taylor-Joy in Last Night in Soho are great. That movie is quickly widely forgotten from
very forgotten, right? He never gets nominated. None of his movies get nominated, right?
I don't think so. No.
I don't think
visual effects here and there, but nothing.
Yeah, boy, that's just a wide snub of what's his face?
Yeah. I think Jessica Chastain seems to be somehow garnering momentum for winning Best Actress, and
that's got to be it, right?
I guess, but I mean, I thought Olivia Colman would be the winner because it's such a heady, critics' favorite type movie. Eyes of Tammy Faye is directed by what's his name from The State, Michael Showalter.
Oh,
and
no
it's
shit.
It's kind of like funny and bizarre, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's almost cartoonish. It's almost cartoonish here and there.
But it should be. It's a Tammy Faye story, right?
She's a cartoon.
She's a human cartoon.
As soon as that movie was over, my girlfriend and I popped in the real life interview they had with Ted Koppel, where he really give them hard questions, and they're just nuts, the two of them, Jim and Tammy Faye. So it's not far off the beaten path to project that off camera. Also a loon. So, and I thought Chastain was just great in that. Probably my winner for that. A close second would be probably Stewart.
The Oscars love a biopic, right? Well, obviously 3 of these are.
You're in the biopic camp? Not the biopic, the biopic.
Yeah, the biopic. Yeah, I've always said biopic. Biography picture.
I see what you mean.
Not a biography picture. Yeah. Anyway. Biography. But so the question here is, in terms of the way they tend to do these things, who is getting their first Oscar, or is someone getting their second? Right? Is it time to reward Olivia Colman, Penelope Cruz, and Nicole Kidman? Is it time that they get another one, or is it time for Jessica Chastain to finally get one? Right?
Yeah, I mean,
Kristen Stewart, she's got that first timer. She'll get it her next time, even if it's less good than this performance. If she gets nominated a second or third time, then she'll get one of these.
That's an interesting politics take on it.
It's
I think maybe the days of giving Tom Hanks one back-to-back years are gone. But then again, Mahershala Ali. I mean, how far apart were
Yeah.
his Oscars, 1 or 2 years.
Were they 1 year, 2 years?
Yeah, Moonlight and Green Book. So
Yeah, but those are pretty spectacular. Those might be more spectacular than Olivia Colman in this, and Penelope Cruz in this. Penelope Cruz.
That Lost Daughter is a hard like. But
yeah, I don't know anything about that movie.
It's a challenging movie in that it's a woman acting irrational, and fuck you if you don't like it.
Yeah,
and so that's interesting.
Now the other thing is Kristen Stewart. It's her first nomination, but she's put in the time. She has put in the time to kind of come around at least to this type of prestige picture. But I don't think they'll give it to her. You know.
Yeah, so I mean, that leaves
weird.
Chastain here. I thought Coleman was your leader, and Kidman keeps winning too. Although I just have a hard time looking at her face. All right, best actor. We have Javier Bardem, Cumberbatch, Andrew Garfield, Will Smith, and Denzel Washington. My pick, I think I said it when I did my top 10, is Will Smith.
Yeah, that's it.
And,
That's
and
the one.
he seems to be on the run as well. It's a tough pick.
It's time to reward him. He's put in his time.
Yeah,
you did it. You know, and
But
it's
here-
a biopic.
Yeah, some would say.
Yeah,
This is also an overflow of good performances, like Nicolas Cage in Pig left off.
Left off, yeah.
Everyone thought, oh, this is the year of the return of Cage.
Now they
Didn't
will
get it.
They will reward him for a lesser role next year as an apology, right?
Yeah, as Dracula.
Because he's gonna keep being in great movies because he is maybe the best actor working today. Most interesting, I'll tell you that.
I'll give you that much is true.
Yeah.
But you had Oscar Isaac in The Card Counter. Man, that's Paul Schrader. He always gives up a good lead performance to his actor.
Yeah, I haven't
Peter
seen it.
Dinklage in Cyrano. There's been talk about. I
Oh,
love Matt Damon in The Last Duel. It's tough to play a wholly unlikable character like he does. And I thought one of the best performances of the year was DiCaprio in Don't Look Up. Maybe it's ensemble, so you don't pluck him out of that as a best actor. But he's so good in that movie, and it's redundant and embarrassing to keep saying it, but he's great.
Yeah.
So maybe you're right. Maybe he doesn't need to get rewarded again, even with a
They're
nomination.
definitely done giving him an Oscar. Right? like they might give 70-year-old DiCaprio an Oscar, but he's done for now. Like there was that whole buzz of like, ooh, why? And then like there was one year where like, oh, he got robbed, you know, or he didn't get nominated. Yeah. All that stuff. Like the Academy's like, okay. And they gave it to him for The Revenant, and they're like, that's it. Go away. Like we're in that phase right now. He ain't getting nominated for 20 more years. I don't care what he does.
My favorite inclusion there is Andrew Garfield, but I think Smith wins it.
Yeah. Oh, it's his time. It's his time. I mean, he is this at this point. It is like you know, just some like a huge icon of Hollywood that has not won an Oscar yet. Like it's just like it's shocking in a way that like Will Smith has not won an Oscar. It would be like I don't know.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford. Well, yeah, it'd be like right. Hey, if Harrison Ford went and did a biopic, which they love.
That biopic. Best supporting actress. You got Jessie Buckley in The Lost Daughter. You've got Ariana DeBose, West Side Story, Kirsten Dunst in Power of the Dog, Ingenue Ellis in King Richard, and Judi Dench in
lost
Belfast.
here.
What's that?
I'm lost here. You got to guide me through this one. I got no opinion. I got an opinion on one of these performances, and I don't think she should win.
Ariana DeBose has been winning everything.
Okay.
She'll win the Oscar. That's my call. And she should. She's a powerhouse in that movie as what's her name? Bernardo's girlfriend. And yeah, tough to call against her with how good she was and the momentum she has. There's a tough omission. Judi Dench getting nominated for Belfast was weird. I thought they'd give it to Catriona Balfe, Balfe, I don't know how you pronounce her name, who was Jamie Dornan's wife in that, the mother of the main character of the movie, the kid.
Yeah.
Who I thought had more to do and was better. Judi Dench was just kind of, loafy old lady who spouted wisdom, but I didn't thought it was that much of an important part as much as the mother in that story.
Yeah, she's going to get the attention because she's Judi Dench. How many times has she been nominated?
She has an Oscar too. She got one. So
yeah, she's got one. Oh, she ain't getting it.
Yeah. But anyway, this is all. I'm glad Jessie Buckley was nominated. Olivia Colman's great in The Lost Daughter, but that really is a two-pronged performance because it cuts back and forth from the past to the present, where Buckley plays young Coleman.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, she's great. I had to look her up because I knew I'd seen her before, and it was that last Charlie Kaufman movie. I'm Thinking of Ending Things. She was the lead in that.
God,
and I liked her, so I'm glad she was included. But it's just the Boses category. Calling it done. It's over.
All right.
Best Supporting Actor, you got Kieran Hines in Belfast, Troy Kotzer in Coda, Jesse Plemons in The Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons, Being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith-McPhee for The Power of the Dog. And here's another omission that I was shocked by.
Reese Funds?
As Lizard.
For the Kingsman?
as Rasputin. Yeah. The glaring omission was Jamie Dornan from Belfast not getting nominated, instead giving 2 nominations to The Power of the Dog. I don't think Jesse Plemons had a shot here. But
I thought he was the best actor in that movie.
Well, I thought Cody Smith-McPhee had all the sort of momentum for supporting actor, and there wouldn't be room for Plemons.
Yeah.
But I guess there were 2 actors in Belfast and 2 of The Power of the Dog, and they only gave 1 from one movie and then 2 from the other. Regardless, your winner is Troy Kotzer, and he should win. He's been taking them all in. When you see that performance,
who is that in Coda? Is that
he's the deaf father?
Father, okay.
Yeah.
This guy with the beard?
Yes.
Okay.
Man, he's really, really good.
Yeah, I don't reckon. Do I know this actor at all? Is this?
I never heard of him.
They just pick someone who's no, but I think they're casting deaf actors which don't act very much.
Exactly.
They don't get cast much.
Yeah.
At all, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and the good inclusion here is J.K. Simmons and Being the Ricardos. I watched that this morning, so I could be up on it.
That movie is such a good movie, and he's something in it. You know what? And he's just playing this like famously low-fee sitcom guy, and it's kind of fun seeing what's the neighbor's name in the I can't even
Fred Mertz.
Fred Mertz, right? Yeah. I mean, it's just so cool that they even give Fred Mertz time and Being the Ricardos. I mean, obviously we're here to follow the Ricardos, but I mean to the other co-star, the Fred and Ethel Mertz characters, it was just so cool what they did with them and how they made them matter in the day, and and the whole J.K. Simmons thing of like. Walk like it, and when she goes to the studio late at night, and obviously she's like crazed, like we got to rehearse this thing at 3 a.m. or whatever, and the way he just like and you could tell like there's these people that have worked together forever, they know each other. It just like J.K. Simmons is so good. It's just so cool to have like a dramatic Fred Mertz role out there. It's so cool. Yeah,
he's authentic in everything,
he's so effortless.
Whether it's Juno or Whiplash or even as he's not. Probably my 3rd favorite, Commissioner Gordon, but he was good. You bought him. You always buy him.
Yeah.
And he was and I tell you that
effortless.
Being the Ricardos didn't have the effect it had on me.
Yeah.
I thought it was good, but I'll be damned if the ending wasn't fantastic. That's the thing about Sorkin. His writing is good in the dialogue, but don't forget,
exceptional.
It's also like when she hears Lucy, I'm home, and it freezes, and it's just everything is. You just the movie pauses because she does in the moment in that scene, but then it gives you a second to just put the whole movie together and go, damn you, Sorkin, that's why you're the best.
Yeah, so good.
Best
far out.
Best director Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Ryosuke Hamaguchi for Drive My Car, Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion, and Steven Spielberg.
I was gonna say.
Oh. Yeah, absolutely. I thought my favorite. Well, first of all, the glaring omission here is what I say every year.
Steven Soderbergh.
5 other nominations. 5. Well, that's my runner-up. Yeah, but 5 other nominees. You have 10 best pictures, and 5 nominees aren't worth it. But I understand that the DGA wants to nominate their own, so that's why the director members of the Academy vote for director. The actors vote for acting, etc., and everybody votes on best picture. But I agree with Rob Reiner, who, when A Few Good Men got 7 Oscar nominations and he wasn't one of them, he said that when a movie wins best picture, you give an Oscar to the producers, you give an Oscar to the director, because it's clearly those people who made the film best picture.
I see your point.
Yeah. So if Coda or King Richard or Nightmare Alley or Don't Look Up win, it will clearly not be because of the directors who were not nominated. But Reynaldo Marcus Green for King Richard was great. Adam McKay, that's my favorite Del Toro movie. And, of course, Sean Heder for Coda is, that was my favorite movie of the year. So of what's there, I think I'm with you. Campion's going to win. They loved her for a long, long time.
Right.
Since the piano. We're talking about like close to 30 years of loving Jane Campion. It's her time.
Now, luckily, also the idea of, would this be the first woman to win a Best Director Oscar? Got to be, right?
No, Catherine Bigelow won for Hurt Locker.
Oh, that's right. Catherine Bigelow won. Oh, way to go, Catherine Bigelow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
However, they're still going to love the idea of a woman winning it. And luckily, this won't be just like let's give Jane Camp. I mean, she's a legacy talent and directed the shit out of that movie, which it's not on the page. The directing in that movie is not on the page. It is directed with so much bravura that it seems like nothing is happening. And that, like it's one thing to direct with bravura like Crank. That's directed with bravura as well. Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance is definitely directed with bravura as well. But this also is like, it's really, really good. And I mean, it's got to be that or the legacy thing for Kenneth Branagh, but they're going to go with
I would give it to Branagh. I didn't love Power of the Dog as much as you. But the chat's reminding me, that Chloe Zhao of Eternals won for Nomadland. So there's
right. Okay. Well, that's fantastic. Yeah. So, I mean, so at this point, the Academy won't be like, oh, well, we better give it to a woman or we're going to seem really mean and, male dominated or whatever. Now it's just because she's the best director, I think, out of all these,
Yeah. And my favorite nomination in there, because if you're going to nominate only 5 of the 10 nominees, I'm glad they included Spielberg, because no need to remake West Side Story. It's not necessary at all. So to do it and do it to the caliber that he did, that it gets all this praise and awards, I mean, kudos to him.
Yeah.
You get a nomination for that. Of course, he is a legend. So.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's nice to see his name there again. I can't wait to see West Side Story. I hope I can find that in the theater. It would be so great. But
it might still be out there. It's on Disney Plus, I think now. I think it came or this week.
Yeah. I mean, I got the new big TV and I got the stereo and everything. I can create this sort of feel. Also, friend of the show as Officer Krupke.
Brian Darcy James. Friend of the show. Get him on here.
I know. He's busy.
All right. Well, what other categories?
And Guillermo del Toro, that's enough improbable Oscars for you, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I'd give him this over Shape of Water, but it's already too late.
Yeah, I know. But they already get. But see, they gave him Shape of Water because they're like, what if this is the last good movie he does? Like we got to recognize his accomplishments now. And then I feel like this is the same way with like Forrest Gump in Philadelphia. Like they're like, this might be the last, like, good. I mean, he's Tom Hanks. I mean, he could just do a bunch of crappy comedies forever. Like, this is the last time we have to say good. And then next year he does Philadelphia, a classic Oscar winner. And they're like, ugh, if we knew you were going to do Philadelphia, we wouldn't have given you Forrest Gump.
Well, the ultimate version of that, of course, is Jaws, Close Encounters, Raiders, Color Purple. And they're like, we should just give Spielberg a Thalberg Award because he's not winning Best Director.
He's never going to win Best.
The Thalberg. He won twice.
Yeah. Well, if we knew you were going to do those, we wouldn't have given you the Thalberg Award. Yeah, I mean, that's the way it feels like, the discussions they have.
Any other categories you want to talk about? I will say that...
Isn't it time for a category called Best Superhero Movie of the Year? There's enough of them.
Your thoughts? Yes. My favorite international film is not Drive My Car. It's Worst Person in the World. I thought that was great. Of course, I do need to see Flea. And someone here said that Flea was excellent on the chat. Best Screenplay. I'm rooting for Branagh because if I haven't mentioned it here, I've talked about it in conversation. Branagh's nominations this year, including Best Picture as a producer of Belfast,
he's gotta win something,
and Best Original Screenplay for Belfast, make him the person nominated in the most categories in Oscar history. Wow. Here's a guy who's like a stage actor who decides to make Henry V, and he becomes one of the biggest Hollywood names in history because he was nominated for director and actor for Henry V, for adapted script for Hamlet, for a supporting actor for My Week with Marilyn, where he makes an outstanding Laurence Olivier.
Oh God!
And then he
never
won.
saw that.
Then he was nominated for short film I mentioned previously. I think in 1993. You throw in the producer and the original screenplay nominations. That's 7 different categories he's been nominated in. It's incredible. And so I'd like him to finally win. He's up against Worst Person in the World, Licorice Pizza, King Richard, and Don't Look Up. I think the one with the most prestige there that has a shot of winning is King Richard, but I think Browning wins it. I think
it's a legacy award, right? He's good. Yeah. He's got to win something as a legacy award, and it's probably not going to be Best Director because that's just going to be Jane Campion. Did she win Best Director for Piano? No, right?
No.
Piano.
That was Schindler's List year. Nothing was getting in the way.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it won for Best Supporting or Best
Actress and Actress
and
supporting. Yeah. Of course, we would like to see in that original screenplay list Ed Solomon for No Sudden Move, no doubt.
Oh God!
And
God, what a script, huh?
Right? Yeah.
Jeez.
And I'm shocked that
how do you even write that script? I spend half my time marveling at how someone puts together a script like that. But yeah.
And Being the Ricardos not nominated as well. I was shocked by that because I mean, there's so much good about Sorkin's dialogue, and like I said, by the end,
that's a huge snub.
It's crazy. I don't get it.
It's because we're so used to him. I mean, people brushed this movie off, and if you had never heard of him and that movie just came out, you'd be like, "Who is this guy?" He is one of the. I mean, that would be like Quentin Tarantino's first movie. If Being the Ricardos came out and was a guy you'd never heard of, you're like. But since we all know it's going to be genius, so I'm so tired of it. Yes, it's genius. God, just leave me alone. Like they're just so over it. Boy, that is a glaring omission. Yeah.
Let's talk about editing. Don't Look Up, Dune, King Richard, The Power of the Dog, and Tick, Tick, Boom. I think The Power of the Dog will win. I like Don't Look Up. I think making a movie out of that was harder to do.
These are all different editing challenges. Very different editing challenges.
True.
But the hardest one to edit, I would think, would be Don't Look Up. Although that sort of like hypnotic thing in Power of the Dog, that is a little bit to do with the editing, because there is a lot of times where, once again, to throw you off, it holds longer than it should before a cut, or it cuts earlier than it should. That whole movie is like constantly like catching you up. Whereas Dune, that's got more of like, that's got more of the spectacle kind of editing, that sort of thing. I don't know about King Richard, but Don't Look Up, it's got pace and then a lot of back and forth and then showing two people, that's a kind of like an American Graffiti style editing challenge in a way, vignettes,
Yeah, while dialogue's going on between the president and the scientist, they just cut to a shot of the president posing with Steven Seagal, just to let you know what kind of president this is. But you got to make sure you get that cut in there and not be too jarring, and but yet make a point. And so there was a lot of that sort of discussion, no doubt, had about how to make that film work. But also, I think my favorite nominee is Tick, Tick, Boom, because I mentioned it before. When you see it, you'll see there's the live cabaret Jonathan Larson is doing on piano, real life stories that spawned the songs, and then
editing
musical
is the
numbers
premise
within that. So there's 3 things you're juggling, which is one more than Chicago had to do. So
editing is the premise of that movie.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Yeah.
Then that sounds like that's the one.
Yeah, so I'm glad it got recognized for that.
That's cool. Well, yeah, certainly. And boy, they just don't like action movies for editing. No action movie ever gets nominated. No Time to Die, that's not best edited. Like, it probably is, actually.
And it's a shame because every time they talk about editing, what movie do they say you should watch to learn how movies are edited? French Connection.
And it's
the chase scene with the car and the train. And so it's always an action scene they use to describe editing, but then they don't reward it.
As long as he doesn't put on spandex, they'll appreciate the editing in that movie. But the more difficult movie to edit is clearly Spider-Man No Way Home, right? I mean, it's going to be way harder to edit that than Power of the Dog, but yeah, they just don't. That just doesn't get nominated.
Yeah, but I think Spider-Man, I think Don't Look Up probably veered from screenplay a lot. I think they said, we got all this cool stuff we want to show. Can we put a package together right before this or while someone's monologuing that does all this type of stuff? And so I just have a feeling that there was a lot of improvisation in the editing in that, whereas
right.
Power of the Dog and Spider-Man
Right.
or some of these other films.
Oh,
Dune,
yeah, you know there's
like,
so much...
We're just going according to the script.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of editing, No Sudden Move. That storytelling is part editing in that one too, man. It's just like,
best score, I think Hans Zimmer wins again for Dune. He's up against Don't Look Up and Kanto, Parallel Mothers, and The Power of the Dog. And I have to be honest, I listened because I saw Parallel Mothers after the nominees came out, and I listened to the score. And it didn't really do anything for me. So I guess, I was sort of humming the themes from Dune after I saw the trailer for it. So I think that's probably your winner. And I wouldn't be mad at that. Although I think the big omission there was the French Dispatch.
oh yes, it certainly was. French Dispatch was omitted in a few cases here. I do like that movie a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, cinematography, like French Dispatch, not gonna. Each one of those, everything is a postcard. That is a movie full of postcards.
Yeah. Man, I don't think you're going to beat Power of the Dog in the cinematography category,
No,
but
you're
a
not
nominee there would have been fine by me, you know. West Side Story, Tragedy of Macbeth, Nightmare Alley, Dune, and Power of the Dog. You can't deny Janusz Kaminski. I mean, someone posted the shot of Bernardo and Maria and the whole gang walking into the big dance hall.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't watched, when I saw the movie, I just watched them walk in the dance hall and there's a big dance going on. Someone posted on Twitter, like, watch this again, but watch the camera. And sure enough, it sort of follows them in the room, goes up above everybody, comes down and spins around all the dancers, catches and ends up on a scene, follows the scene for a bit through Brian Darcy James ending this scene. So, again, but the win there is that I didn't notice it when I watched it, but I wasn't bored either. So they entertained me with the photography without having to call it out. So that's always a win too. But I think Power of the Dog wins. It's a gorgeous looking movie.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Best documentary feature. I still need to see more of them, like Flea, but man, I love that Summer of Soul. I thought that was great. And two of the best docs I saw weren't nominated. Julia, which I talked about last week, about Julia Child, and The Alpinist. Another, Free Solo.
What's his superpower?
Climbing
He's a Spider-Man.
ice shelves. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, anyway,
is it Alpinist or Alpinist? Is it a biopic or an Alpinic?
That's enough, Oscars.
That's enough.
Holy explosion!
All right, so that's it. We're the Movie Guys. Go to the Movie Guys everywhere. Social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and more at The Movie Guys. TheMovieGuys.net. I will post my full Oscar rant going further in depth on all the categories, including ones we didn't cover, animated feature film, costume design, sound, adapted screenplay, and all those there. And look for us crazy people raising hell in the Schmoedown.
Yeah, well, I think that'll be happening. And next week I'm hosting alone here.
Or grab somebody.
Are you? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're gone next week, right?
Next week will be my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
So I will be off having shenanigans.
To you.
Yes.
Happy birthday, dear Paul.
Happy birthday.
Major move!
Turning older. So I'll put together some surprise. I'll see how I can gather a panel next week, and we'll do something goofy next week. It'll be crazy.
All right. Until then, don't forget the most important thing anyone ever.
And the Oscar for the Best Picture of 1993 goes to